Hey everyone, Dockwell here, and welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be a brief patch overview of 7.34e, and I think a lot of us were expecting a little bit of a bigger patch. I mean, this patch didn't really do all that much. I don't think anyone, some people certainly were, but I don't think anyone was really expecting 7.35, but, maybe some more nerfs or maybe some buffs here and there. I think they did nerf some of the strong stuff, but not a lot of it, honestly. I think some of these heroes that were broken are still pretty broken. Some did get fixed in the way that, I don't know if they're disappear from the meta completely, but they're definitely not nearly as good. But some of them are still pretty good. I think Moera is one where, this hero is still pretty good. Maybe it's not completely broken, but it is still pretty good. But anyway, I'll give a brief overview. I'm not going to go into every little detail. I'll just go through the heroes, through the items, and we'll just kind of give you the general sense of the patch. So, Eternal Shroud, never bought, so it's buffed, but still probably irrelevant. Hand of Midas, it's just kind of one of these patches, these metas in the last year since they got the map, updated, and it's much bigger now. I think everyone just plays 5 carries and just farms, and so if you can afford to buy Hand of Midas, just go Hand of Midas. And they also changed the way you're not punished as much with the 2 charges, and I think this change is not enough to just delete the item, because the item is kind of like either people are buying it or no one's buying it. I still think people are going to buy it. And then Heart, I kind of don't like that this was nerfed. I know it is very good. A lot of offlaners were buying it, tanky strength offlaners, but not a lot of other heroes were buying it, where, there's other items like Wind Waker or whatever. It's very expensive, I get it, but heroes like Ursa are buying that. And a lot of other heroes like supports are buying it. Mid players are buying it. Everybody's buying that item. It doesn't get touched. So it's kind of a little bit awkward. I just don't like it because Heart is a kind of cool concept, I think. I like that you're just going all in for this tanky health regen kind of build. Hard to bring down, but it doesn't give you much else. Unless you're a strength hero, it gives you some damage, but still. And this item just hasn't been relevant for so long, so I just hope this doesn't kill the item. Then Helm of the Overlord, Vlad's, they just aren't getting picked because Beastmaster, these other heroes, they're not getting picked really that much right now, so this item's kind of dead. It's just an awkward item. I don't love the concept. I feel like they need to change something about Vlad's and Helm and all this kind of stuff to make it not just an item that 2 heroes buy. And then Pavis is just not good. It's still not good. It's not going to be good until the meta changes to not be like a late game, everybody's farming. If there's some kind of early push strat or just something like early team fighting, which happens, but it's not as big of a consequence. This item just feels like you're buying it and then it's good for 5 minutes and then it just sucks. And buffing it like this does not change that at all. And so unless they change the concept, make it a lot better, or the meta changes completely, this item just is not that great. And then for hero updates, AA is very good against those tanky strength offlaners and Spectre and that kind of stuff. So that's why it was picked a good bit. Now it's just nerfed a little bit. Still decent, but not broken. I don't think it was really even that broken before, but just not as good of a counter, which is kind of weird because all those tanky heroes, now the big counter to them, or at least one of the big counter, is not as good. So they might still, the ones that didn't get nerfed a lot might still be pretty decent. Bristleback, one of those weird ones where they changed the ags. People didn't really know what was going to happen with him, but I think he's back to his roots where he's more of a kind of tanky strength hero, offlaner type hero, where it's very hard to bring him down. And if you don't bring him down, he can do a lot of damage. Where before the old ags, it was very awkward because, you kind of want to turn your back to people, but with the old ags, you're just kind of running in like a carry and beating them with your fists. And that's just, it kind of didn't make any sense for what the hero was supposed to do. And now Hairball kind of changed, back into that old ags. It was kind of a replacement for that. Not nearly as good, obviously, but still kind of a replacement. So all those numbers just kind of changed, got nerfed a little bit. We'll see if that's enough to kill the hero, because the hero was very low win rate, not picked at all. And then people realize oh wait, if we change the style, if we play him kind of how he's conceptually supposed to be played, he's pretty good. So we'll see if this kills the hero. I think it actually might. Then Chaos Knight. I was one of the people that actually figured this out before anyone. I'm not saying I pioneered it or anything. Of course I did not. But I actually figured this out. It's one of the only times this happened to me. I figured out the meta before it happened. This hero was not getting picked. I figured out that it was broken, and I just spammed it. I gained 600 MMR just with Chaos Knight. It was insane. Because this hero was absolutely insane. You hit an early timing where nobody can kill you. And then even late game, this hero's not that bad. But the nerfs are pretty decent. Just the laning stage is not as good. It can't just... it probably will still play off lane because you're just playing carry from the off lane now, but it's just not good like it was. You're not healing up to full after 2 lifesteals on a creep, that kind of stuff. Dark Willow, just a small nerf. I don't think it's a huge deal. The hero is okay. Pretty good, obviously, but this doesn't change that much. Dazzle, just one where it's there's like a token touch where they just nerf it a little bit, but it's completely irrelevant. Like nobody cares. It doesn't really affect the game in any way. And this hero wasn't that good. I mean, it was good, but it was not that good anyway. Drow, dead hero, so they buffed it a little bit. Not really that much of a relevant buff. A lot of these heroes that are completely dead, like Drow, they just kind of give a small buff to. So I'll just mention that when we see them. Earth Spirit, a very interesting change. I think this hero was good, but I just don't see it in pubs very much because there's so few Earth Spirit players. And because the meta is like late game, kind of everybody farming, this hero doesn't really fit that as much, although it is very good and can be broken if you have the right player playing it. But this is kind of a big nerf. It's interesting to me because I think that changes the dynamic of the hero a lot. There's some big nerfs in this patch to some heroes, but this one I think might be the biggest, honestly. It's huge. Maybe I'm overestimating it because I'm not an Earth Spirit player, so I don't get that feeling for it. But whenever you have a change that changes that feel of how much you can fight and how good you are at that, it can honestly be devastating for the hero. And this hero hasn't really been played very much in the past years. Like, yes, it's been popular a little bit recently as like a mid and stuff like that, but I just hate that these heroes that are fun, that are cool, interesting concepts, it seems like they get good and then for like one patch for a couple months and then they get killed. So hopefully this doesn't kill the hero. Enigma, very bad hero, like Drow, just needed a small buff. This is not relevant enough. I don't think it's going to change the hero. Grimstroke, very good support, one of the best supports right now, and I don't think this change does really anything to the hero. I mean, yes, it's small, but like life stealing off of abilities is not what makes Grimstroke good. So I don't think that's really relevant. Gyro, another one, like Enigma, like Drow, just a small buff, but not very big. Same thing with Juggernaut, small buff, not huge, not going to, I think, make or break anything in the patch. Kunkka, another big nerf, kind of like, not as much as CK, or I mean, I think more than CK, but maybe not as much or similar to Bristleback. This hero just, all of the things were nerfed on it pretty much that make it good. All the control, the damage, the damage reduction, just all these little things that make this hero so annoying in the team fights. They're just not as good. Still good, I think, but not as completely busted like it felt like they were. Leshrac, another hero that's bad, hasn't been picked. I mean, actually this past year it got picked pretty much, but then it got nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, and now it's just kind of dead. So they're kind of giving it a little bit of love there. Lion just out of nowhere gets cast range increase, which is pretty significant, honestly. This ability is very good now. It wasn't that long ago that Lion was getting picked a lot, so it's interesting they did this to Lion. I don't mind that. I mean, I like Lion. He's kind of one of those weird grief supports that people play, but it's terrible with, and like that's kind of like me. I don't play support. I just pick Lion. I just like, I stun you. but yeah, that's Lion. I like him. He's fun. And then Lycan, they're just giving a little bit of buff, kind of like, just like with the Helm of the Overlord and stuff. Like, here you go, here's a small buff. I mean, yes, that makes him better, kind of like doing damage and being a carry from the off lane, but I just don't think that's, he's still not really a carry like he used to be, where it's like, just pick Wraith King, still, like, whatever. Marcy, completely kind of useless cast range increase. I mean, whatever. I mean, yes, it makes things a little bit better, the laning stage, whatever, but I don't think it's that much of a deal. And next up, we have Moera. I don't think these nerfs are actually enough to make the hero, honestly, that much worse. Yes, the laning stage is not nearly as powerful, so it's not nearly as good. It's not going to dominate the laning stage like it did in the past. But, I mean, you can still pick this hero 4, and what you did with this hero is you picked this hero as a carry in the 4 position, and then late game, you were just insane. And so, yes, this one ability is not just like going to allow you to play support and have infinite impact with this like insane slow and silence and all this stuff, but it's still good. I mean, like look at it. If the slow, once you max it out, is still the same. Yes, it's not lasting as long, but it lasts a long time. Like, it still lasts a very long time. Like, you don't need more than 8 seconds to kill somebody, like when you're placing it down. And like, team fights don't last that long. Like, 10 seconds is a long time, you know what I mean? And so 8 seconds, I mean, that's still a long time for a team fight. So I just don't think this is that big of a nerf. I mean, yes, it's enough to make that, like I said, the laning stage is not as good, but it's not significant enough that I think this hero isn't going to be picked. I think it's still going to be picked a lot. And maybe still from the 4 position, honestly. Then we have Nekro. Another hero that's kind of been like this tanky hero. This hero does a good amount of damage, counters a lot of strength heroes, sort of in that AA type of role. That mobility that they gave him just added all these little things on top of each other. The Ags is now, I think, kind of underrated, but people buy it a lot and can do very well with it. One of the only like non-strength heroes buying Heart, that kind of thing. And so they just nerfed the numbers overall on his abilities because he was pretty good. I think he was also a good pub stomper too. Primal Beast, some small nerfs here as well. Not huge, I would say. Just a little bit of a nerf to his ability to constantly team fight, but it's not a ton. It's just small tweaks to make him not completely broken. But I don't even think this hero was that broken. I know he's pretty good. I know he was picked a lot, but he's not one of the most annoying heroes I've had to deal with. You know, like Moera is a way more annoying hero than Primal Beast. So hopefully this doesn't kill the hero. I mean, I like the concept of the hero. The hero seems pretty cool. And I never like, oh, this Primal Beast is the most annoying thing. I mean, it takes some skill. It's pretty good. But then sometimes you can counter it pretty easily. So I don't know. I like the hero in the meta. We'll see if this is enough to kill it. Shadow Shaman buff, where this is just like kind of getting to the point. This damage amp is getting to the point where this is kind of significant. Pretty insane, actually, on this hero. But we'll see if that makes this hero relevant. A lot of these squishy supports that have a hard time positioning are just not that good when you have like a Moera just like as the forward position, just killing everybody. And then Spectre, it's like, what? Lol, this hero has been good. This hero is good. This is 1 armor. Like, give me a break. Come on. That's not even anything. What are you doing? This hero's still very good now. If anything, this might be the best hero of the patch now because you didn't even nerf it. I mean, not that it was completely broken, but it was very good. Now it's just still very good. Spirit Breaker, yes, it has been good. And it's very annoying in pubs and stuff like that. So I understand why they nerfed it. But again, like, if I'm choosing Spirit Breaker or Moera as my 4, I'm choosing Moera. Now, I know Spirit Breaker can play core as well, like, and Moera can play carry, but it's just, you know. Anyway, I'm just comparing everything to the Moera nerfs and being like, this is more, I feel like, than the Moera nerfs, so what are we doing here? That's kind of my theory with this patch and my comparisons. Then we have Timbersaw, dead hero, so just giving it some love. Tiny, dead hero, giving it some love. Treant Protector, very, very good right now. Pretty much the best support, honestly. And they did nerf it a little bit. I don't think it's a ton. I mean, Leech Seed, yes, very good early. And the movement speed is very important because of your movement speed in trees and everything and just escaping. But I don't think this is that much. Like, the nerfs aren't huge for that hero. So, still very good, I think. There's a lot of things about the hero still to like. Weaver, Geminate Attack is kind of one of the big things that made this hero good. But, I mean, you are still, at max level, it's still the same. So, yeah, picking like 5 position Weaver is not really going to be a thing like maybe it was. But the hero's still very good. It's kind of like one of those Spectre things where it's like, this hero's still going to be good. Like, if you're picking it in a core role, it doesn't really change anything about the hero. Maybe the lane stage, like, a little bit worse for last hitting, but like, and harassing, but whatever. Winter Wyvern, dead hero, so they're giving it some love. Witch Doctor, pretty good hero, especially in pubs. So they're just making it not as good, but it's not really that big of a change. Like, these changes aren't huge. It's one of those kind of grimstroke changes where it's like, oh, it's a nerf, but is it really? Like, kind of. I mean, this is definitely a nerf, don't get me wrong, but I don't know how much of a nerf it really is. And then another big one, which is actually not that big, but this hero needed to get nerfed, was Wraith King. Skeleton damage decreased by 3 is good. Don't get me wrong, that's significant. It makes the hero worse. But it's another one that, like, okay, 3, but that doesn't really change the concept of why the hero's good. Yes, it's still pushing towers with the skeletons. It's still, like, okay, the skeletons do 3 less damage, but does that really mean that the support that the skeletons are running after can just be like, okay, well, now I can stand there and tank all that? No. The support still has to run. The carry still, early on, is going to have to run. Like, it still does enough damage that these skeletons still are a big deal, and they still push the tower quickly. So, you know, I don't know that it's a huge nerf. Now, the debate is this a bigger nerf than 1 armor? I don't know. I still think this is a smaller nerf, I think, than Moera, but bigger than 1 armor, but it's still not enough. I think this hero is just very, very good. Let's just put it that way. So anyway, that's the patch. That is 7.34E. Like I said, it's not a huge patch, honestly. Kind of disappointing. I understand it's kind of the end of the year. It's after TI. There's kind of this period of not doing very much. I get it, but you kind of wish that there would be a little bit more of a meta change. We'll see, because sometimes I think, oh, this isn't going to be a meta change, and then for whatever reason, just stuff happens, and you're just like, oh, wow, these heroes just suddenly are now in the meta, and other ones just kind of died, even though small tweaks were made. So anyway, that's the patch. Let me know what you guys think. We'll develop in this meta, and as always, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, all of those kinds of things, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.